At 3 in the morning, St. Eustace Hospital was engulfed in a deep, oppressive silence, the kind that makes every small sound feel like a scream in the darkness. The emergency lights cast a dim, yellowish glow over the empty corridors, transforming harmless shadows into ghostly outlines. The building, old and worn by time, seemed like a sleeping entity, just waiting for the right moment to wake. There was something almost ritualistic about that hour, when the hospital seemed to belong not to the living, but to the forgotten, to the souls that, according to legend, still roamed there. Sarah, a young nurse who had been working at the hospital for only a short time, was finishing her night shift. To her, St. Eustace was just another old, dimly lit place, with endless hallways and abandoned rooms that made her heart beat a little faster. She had heard the stories. Everyone had. The murmurs about the forgotten had been passed around among the staff for years. They were legends about patients who had died mysteriously, abandoned by their families, who now wandered the halls searching for recognition, or perhaps revenge. Sarah, skeptical and practical, never paid much attention to these stories, attributing them to her superstitious co-workers or the influence of long, sleepless nights. But that night, something felt different. There was a heavy feeling in the air, as if the hospital were waiting. The atmosphere was thicker, the silence seemed to swallow every sound, and the cold walls seemed to close in, narrowing the path in front of her. Sarah realized she was alone, more alone than she had ever felt. She tried to convince herself it was just her emotions heightened by fatigue, but she sensed there was more. Her heart began to race as she felt the hallway seemed to breathe, as though an invisible presence were there with her. Then the lights began to flicker, casting the corridors into intermittent darkness. Each flicker was a momentary plunge into shadow, and when the light returned, Sarah felt a stronger sense that something was off, misplaced. She heard a metallic sound echoing from some distant point, as if something heavy had fallen. Her body tensed, survival instincts kicking in as her heart pounded. The sensation of being watched intensified, almost becoming tangible. Each step she took seemed to amplify this feeling, and each time she looked back, she saw only the dark, empty hallway, but felt in her core that she was far from alone.